What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of TECSpertZ. My name is Nick Green, the News and Sports Director at WZMB.
I'm Ken Gates. I am the station manager for WZMB.
My name's Caleb Johnson. I'm the sports editor for the East Carolinian.
My name's Tyler Bonacore, and I'm a sports reporter for the East Carolinian.
And we are back with yet again another episode of TECSpertZ, talking about all things basketball and then a little baseball preview here at the end of this episode, so y'all stick around for that. First and foremost, let's talk about the one thing I know we don't really want to talk about, although we do have a little bit of good news this week, as we did not go 0-2 this past weekend in men's basketball. We are now 6-14, 1-6 in conference play, which first conference win of the season came this week against North Texas. Lost 77-60 to Wichita State, 63-59 against. We beat North Texas 63-59. Gentlemen, what were your thoughts on this week in men's basketball?
I was glad to see them break the streak and get that win. Anytime you can hold a team in any level of Division I basketball to under 60 points, that's a great feat. I think we also had 4 scorers over double figures in that game, which was pretty awesome to see as well. I think in terms of the week as a whole, the biggest thing that jumped off the page to me was Dimitri Gardner. He's kind of came into his own since he's been getting some starting minutes for the Pirates, and honestly, I want more of it. I want to see how it goes for the rest of the year. I think he's earned his keep already just in 2 games. That's how bad this team has been. But yeah, I think that, the North Texas game was a good display of Mike Schwartz basketball, a team win, hold the team to under 60 points. That's the kind of stuff you're looking for from this East Carolina team.
I could honestly give 2 craps about this men's basketball team, but obviously we won the other day, and it was like Friday at like 1 p.m., which was kind of random because I think it was the weather here. Obviously ended up doing nothing. Oh, it was weather in Texas? Oh.
Yeah. Texas.
Okay, did not realize that. I thought. Well, the reason why I said that was because it would have made sense for it to be us, so they could go ahead and get back to Greenville before it snowed, even though it did not, which was disappointing. But anyways, I can't really say much. They shot the ball terribly. North Texas shot the ball terribly. I think that's the only reason why we won. They were like 20% from 3, which is like an ECU stat line, basically. This team's it's still pretty bad. I don't care what you really say about it, because typically we're used to having to score a lot to win. When we held them under 60, like Caleb mentioned, but that was really just North Texas not shooting the ball well. Corey Cocker played a better game than usual. He still had like 3 turnovers, but passed the ball well. Shot the ball fairly well. So, for him, fairly well. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was a great game. Obviously, it's more probably of a North Texas loss rather than an ECU win. But it's good to see. We've been saying the last few weeks that we just don't have anyone who can score the ball other than Jordan Riley, and having 4 guys over double figures is a good thing to see. Even though Jordan Riley didn't have his best stuff, it was nice to see him be able to get some support from his teammates. And then defensively, it was a solid showing. Obviously, North Texas didn't shoot the ball too well. But I think it's a good sign. Hopefully that we can maybe string together 1 or 2 more wins in the conference. Hopefully with this game coming up against Rice, we can get another one. They're second or third to last in the conference, I think. So yeah, I think this is a good opportunity maybe to win 2 in a row, maybe for like the first time this year.
First time ever, probably.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah,
this year. Yeah. No, 100%. I agree with you. I think that was kind of my big takeaway too. I'm really surprised we were able to win a game with Jordan Riley not playing his A game. I think that's probably the most impressive thing about this win against North Texas. But I also completely agree with you, Tyler. I really think this is more of just a North Texas downfall. North Texas shot 35% from the field, which is awful. It was not a good game by them, any means necessary. I think we just happened to play a little bit better, and it's not like we even played that great, to be honest with you. So it really was a weird game. I'll take a win however I can get it, especially last week when we were talking about how I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't get a single conference win this year. I'm happy we did at least get one. However, it's definitely not the prettiest of wins, but once again, we'll go back to I will always take a win no matter how it comes here. Definitely something to it's definitely, it's a win. We'll take it however we can get it. Guys, I did want to actually bring up the fact that we did see the addition of Dimitri Gardner into the starting 5. What are y'all's thoughts on how he fits into the starting lineup? And what does he add to this team?
I think that he is a somewhat decent 3-and-D guy. He knows how to move off the ball, which is a big thing that this team has been missing. He's a veteran guy, got a lot of basketball under his belt, but we see him entered into the starting lineup. He scored over double digits on fairly decent percentages in both games. Um, that's the type of stuff we need. We need some veteran leadership on this team, some guys that know how to play the game of basketball fundamentally well, and he's displayed that so far. Hopefully we can keep getting more from him.
I mean, I echo everything Caleb said, but also the thing is with him, I just don't think it really matters because, I mean, it's his last time playing. This is his last, 10 games of college basketball, so I just don't really care that I mean, I'm glad to see him doing well for himself, but, I don't really care in terms of us because it doesn't help us for any in the future. I'd rather see younger guys play, honestly, at this point because even though I think it may need to be a roster overhaul after this season, I'd still like to see some of these younger guys get minutes and see what they can do. I mean, I think it kind of sucks, but I'd rather see Patty D'Arcy play over Demetri Gardner, honestly, at this point. I just don't think it really matters, just someone like that. So,
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point. How we don't really get any value from him playing good right now for the future. Maybe we win one or two more games. I think he's a good addition. If he can shoot the three well, he shot 50%. He was 2 for 4 against North Texas. So if he's able to do that, then it's good, of course. But yeah, I don't think it's going to change too much with this team. I mean, the overarching theme is that we have no one else who can score and we can't defend. So I don't know if it'll help that much. It's not really going to make too much of a difference in my opinion. But we'll see. Final few games down the stretch, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree with you guys, and to avoid saying too much repetition, I'm just going to say you all hit the nail on the head on the hammer, and we're just going to move on from that. Our next two games are going to be against Rice on Wednesday. By the time this comes out, that game more than likely would have already happened. We'll see. The earliest this will get up is probably Wednesday, so we'll see about that. And then FAU on Sunday. Those are the next two games. Now, for a little bit more entertaining news, women's basketball 15-6 overall, 7-1 in conference play, second in the conference, only one game behind Rice, who is a game ahead of us, a game ahead of us in conference play. The women's basketball team's on a roll right now. Just won two more games, 65-58 against UTSA and 87-61 against UAB. Gentlemen, the ladies' team is on fire right now. What have you guys liked in this past two games and just overall what you've seen from the women's team right now?
Yeah, a 5-game win streak in the conference. You can never be upset about that. I mean, just great team basketball from the ladies. Kennedy Fauntleroy hasn't had her best 2 games over the last 2, but, you see the ladies like Rembert, Hutton, and Herb and Brooks, they all are stepping up to fill that void. And that's been a common theme throughout conference play for these Lady Pirates, and that's just been awesome to watch. Like I say, every single episode, tip your cap to Kim McNeil. She's done it again. She's put together another great roster, and that's really exciting to see. Trying to think. Oh, yeah, scoring 87 against UAB is pretty freaking ridiculous. I mean, any women's basketball team at any level scoring around that 90-point range is unbelievably impressive. I think the sky's the limit for the ladies. I can't wait to see how the season finishes out.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, and it's kind of like what Caleb said. It's just this team's able to, whenever, maybe Fauntleroy doesn't have a good game, you have Rembert who steps up, and it happens all the time. Hutton will have 3 games in a row where she won't score more than 8 points in any of them, but then she'll go off for 20. And, Rembert and Fauntleroy, I do think, are the 2 key, main cogs of this team. But you have the other ones who are able to do stuff like Barner, like Hutton, like Brooks, like Herp, and it really does help this team out a lot. This women's team is very exciting to watch. I mean, they have another game against Wichita State tomorrow night. Recording this on Monday, Tuesday, and it should be a pretty easy win. I believe Wichita State's last in the conference right now, or at least down near the bottom. And that should be another easy win to get them to 8-1. And I mean, Rice has played one less game. Let's hope they can drop their next one so then we could be in sole possession of first place. But yeah, I mean, this really is sky's the limit. I mean, it's kind of a lot of what Caleb said, but it's just all true. So, yeah. Yeah,
I agree. Overall, I think that it was really impressive to see how the ladies were able to rally with Fauntleroy having a bad game. I mean, Fauntleroy, she didn't make a shot. But also, I wouldn't even say she had a bad game, though. She had 6 rebounds and 8 assists still with only 1 turnover. So having a point guard like that who doesn't have their shooting night, understand and be able to facilitate the offense and grab board and still make an impact is really impressive. And then as a team, we shot really well from the field overall with an 0 for 7, with Fallenor shooting 0 for 7, and Savannah Brooks shooting 2 for 8. We had as Anzani Hutton shoot 8 for 9 from the field, and then Kiana Rembert shot 7 for 16. So I mean, overall, I think it was a really good win with how bad Fallenor played shooting the ball wise, and be able to just rally and still be able to put up 90 points. So.
Yeah, no, I'm going to echo that a little bit too. Yeah, 100%. The way we shot against UAB was actually really impressive. 50% from the field, 55.6% from 3, and we had 5 scorers in double figures, and 2 of those were not Savannah Brooks and Kennedy Fauntleroy, which is insane to think about when you really, because all year long we've been saying Savannah Brooks and Kennedy Fauntleroy are our 2 guys who are going to go out there and they're just going to go play great every single week. This week, both of them, not this game against UAB, neither one of them really had their A game, and you see the team rally around them and still put up 87 points. That's insane, guys. And I think it goes back to echo just how good this women's team is, how much depth there is on this team, and just, I mean, it's just incredible to really think about. Like you guys said, the sky's the limit on this team, and it really is just, it's just impressive. It like that. There's not much else to say. It's just impressive work of art that Kim McNeil's put together on the basketball court every single time they take the court, and it's absolutely awesome to see. Kiana Rembert also having 21 points against UTSA. That's another. I mean, it's 2 complete different styles of wins against UTSA and UAB. Against UTSA, we didn't also have our best shooting game against UTSA, but defense steps up and they hold it at 58 points, and we still get the win against UTSA. This team can beat you in many aspects on the court, and I think it goes to show how dangerous this team is, and it's just really awesome to think about. I mean, the sky's the limit here. I think we can take just about anybody in this conference. I like our odds on this, and like I said, I really think this team, I would not be surprised at all if we make a conference tournament run and maybe get into March Madness this year. Would not be surprised at all. I wouldn't put it past them. Our next 2 games there, I actually did not write down. I was about to say the next 2, but I did not write those down.
Charlotte and Wichita State.
Yeah.
Wichita State is
home.
Yep.
Charlotte's away
Yes.
on Saturday.
Yes.
I was about to say Wichita State. I knew that one because I'm commentating that one, but that's tomorrow. All right, guys. Last but certainly not least, Baseball Media Day was 2 weeks ago. We're getting very close to baseball season coming up here in East Carolina. And when baseball season comes around in East Carolina, the whole town pays attention. This is something that gets the entire town on notice, is when the Diamond Pirates, I just made that up, they take the field every single, I just made that up. They take the field every single time, every weekend. Guys, this team's got a lot of hype around it. What are your thoughts on what we can expect this spring?
Man, I'm going to say this. Given the team we had last year and the run that we made in the conference tournament and to the regional, when you look at that roster and you compare it to this year's roster and even this year's coaching staff, I think that we got better in pretty much every single spot. You hear Coach Austin Knight at Media Day saying that, we've got 8 or 9 guys competing for starting pitching spots. You hear Cliff Godwin talking about the catching situation, talking about we have 3 serious guys behind the plate. You talk about the infield, we've got the Braden Burrises, the Austin Irbies, the Colby Wallaces, and then you go out and make all these additions. The outfield, same way. I mean, man, it just can't be more exciting. We open the season up at home against Xavier, which is a good test off the jump. So I'm just looking forward to it. I mean, there's a million different position battles we can talk about. If I wanted to talk about them all, I'd be sitting up here rambling for like 20 or 30 minutes. But as an overview, I expect really big things from this team. I expect a conference tournament win. I expect playoff runs, all that. This team is legit.
Yeah, I mean, I will say I feel like every single year, besides maybe last year, I mean, it was not great, obviously, last year, but every single year you do hear, because this team has never been to Omaha, you hear, this is the team that's going to get us to Omaha. This is the team that's going to get us to Omaha. But I'm going to say it again. This team can get us to Omaha. There's no reason why they can't. Last year, I think a lot of the struggle, yes, there was a lot of offensive struggles at times, but last year, really, it was the pitching. I mean, pitching was really what was the downfall last year. But like Caleb said, and injuries, and like Caleb said, though, you have 8 or 9 guys competing for 4 starting spots, really. I mean, you might have that Wednesday game that happens every couple weeks, about every couple weeks, basically. You do have that one that kind of hinges some things around, but you have 8 or 9 guys competing for 4 or 5 starting spots, and then all those guys who are not going to start, you put them in the bullpen along with guys in the bullpen. We're not talking about the 8 or 9 guys, but you got Luke Payne already in the bullpen. You got Jackson DiLorenzo in the bullpen. You have guys you're not even mentioning talking about competing for starting spots. You're talking about guys who are you got the Morans. You got a guy like a Gavin Van Kempen, who I don't think is going to be a starter on this team, but I do think is going to provide a lot. Because Norby, as great as he is, he's a strikeout guy. He's going to only go 5 or 6 innings. You're going to have a guy like Gavin Van Kempen come in the 6th, 7th, 8th innings on a Friday night and play great ball for you and pitch great ball for you. I feel like that's going to help us a lot. Where this team goes, last year we talked about Norby and what was his name?
Sean Jenkins.
No, but Pruitt it'd be like them
yeah.
two on Friday nights.
Yeah.
Ethan Young. That's what I meant to say. I couldn't think of it. 2 Ethans would pitch. It'd be like Norby for 6, Young for 3. That was a lot of our Friday night wins would come from that. And I would not be surprised to see maybe a Norby and a Van Kempen or Norby and someone else do that this year. I mean, this guy really is the limit. I mean, Caleb, you didn't hit the nail on the head on the hammer, but I'm just going to really reiterate everything he said. Yeah.
I think to me, coming from media day, the thing I'm looking forward to the most is just the culture around the team. I mean, we listened to Cliff Godwin say that this team is different from last year. Their attending practice was a different sense of urgency.
He said they're better humans than they were last year.
Yeah. Which he said wasn't a shot towards the team at all last year, because I mean, a lot of these guys were on the team last year. Obviously, they were able to grow. But it seems like we just had a culture cleansing, and these guys really want to win. They really want the fans of ECU and the city of Greenville to feel success, big success. And I mean, he also said, which is what stood out to me, was that injuries was not going to derail this team whatsoever. We have depth everywhere. We said the pitching already, but positionally, we have guys everywhere. We have freshmen like Gavin Linehan. He was praising a lot. At short, I know Braden Burris was saying that he kind of really stood out to him a lot through fall. So yeah, I think I'm really excited for this team and what's going to happen in the spring. And I agree with what all you guys said about the playoffs and everything. So
I agree, and I don't even think it wouldn't be surprised me at all if Linehan ends up earning a starting spot on this team in somewhere in the infield. Wouldn't surprise me at all with all the praise you hear from Linehan from him. You guys are right. I mean, this team is just incredible to even think about. I mean, you've got Norby, Jenkins, Towers, who all 3 more than likely are going to be your weekend starters. Towers and Jenkins are the 2 big question marks there, but even them 2, I think it's a safe bet to say those 3. We can actually probably talk about that. That'll be our next point, actually, trying to guess the starting rotation, because we might not all agree on that. But some other names I do want to throw out there. Joe Webb is one I really want to throw out there. Cliff Godwin in the media day said this guy was Danny Beal on steroids, which I know me and you know. Danny Beal, he was somebody who we liked to watch whenever he was here. He was here on Trey Savage's team, was a bullpen guy. We love Danny Beal here. Having Danny Beal on steroids here, that's something fun to think about. I'm not going to lie. He said obviously not actually on steroids, so not that, but just kind of the metaphor of that. Having the bullpen there, of getting Boucher and Colby Wallace in the bullpen, two-way guys there. Frank Saccone in the bullpen, so nobody mentioned. We talked about DiLorenzo. And you're right. I mean, the depth on this team, like I said, we have position battles on pretty much every single position. In the infield and the outfield, we have position battles all over the place. And it really is just, it goes back to the depth you were talking about and kind of the position battles there. Is if we have an injury, we could have some of our better guys get hurt. I trust that these guys who are coming in to replace are going to put up good production. I trust them to do that because of just, what we've heard so far anyway. Granted, have we seen anything? No, this is just what we've heard from Cliff Godwin. And to note, Cliff Godwin does typically do this hype every year of this is the team, this is the team, this is the team. you have to take that with a grain of salt, of course. However, there is a lot to be excited about, and there's no way around that. I actually do kind of want to open this conversation up, though. Who do you guys think is going to be the starting rotation come springtime? I've kind of already said my answer on here, but what do you guys think is the starting rotation going to be?
I don't think there's going to be a set starting rotation by any means. I think that you know when you say you've got 8 or 9 guys, especially guys like Antolik who are coming off a serious injury and are still trying to build back into it, it's going to change a lot. I think the lineup that you said, Norby, Jenkins, and Towers will probably be the 3 to start the year. I can agree with you on that. But throughout the rest of the year, I think it's going to change a lot. I think we're going to see guys like Webb and Tolik, guys like that are going to come in and make a big impact late down the stretch. I know Cliff Godwin in the media day interviews was saying that, Antolik is not going to see a lot of starts in the beginning of the season because they want to ease him into the season, and then they want him to be there late in the year when they need him the most. So, yeah, I don't think it's set in stone, but if I had to go for like Xavier series, these are the 3 guys. It would be the 3 that you said, Nick.
I would agree with those 3. I think the only one who, out of the guys we've talked about and guys that even Cliff Godwin's mentioned, I think the only guy who could probably compete with Towers for that starting spot is Frank Cincone, and only the reason I say that, I feel like Cincone, out of all those guys, just fits more of a starter than like a Van Kempen or even a Joe Webb. I mean, you couldn't even Weber, the freshman. We haven't even mentioned him yet. But I think Cincone probably competes the most because his stuff's more starter stuff, and it's really starter stuff dependent. It kind of needs to be in there. He can go through a lineup 1 time, 2 times, and blow through them, but that 3rd time he comes up, and I mean, you could say that he'd be better in the bullpen that way. You could say better as a starter, but I think him going 4 or 5 innings for you on a Sunday would be more impactful than him just coming in on a random, the 6, 7, 8 guys in the order. I feel like that kind of fits him better, would be to go out there and start on a Sunday. Now, I think Towers probably is the answer. I think Cincone's probably just the one who can compete with him more. I think the Tuesday guy was Nick Moran no matter what. Now, personally, I think Moran should be a bullpen guy, but I think he will at least start the year in that Tuesday starting spot. I just think him on a Saturday coming in at, it's like 5 o'clock, the game's winding down, especially in this, February, 5 o'clock, it's starting to get dark, and Nick Moran comes out and just throws gas for you. I think that honestly fits him better, but I think he's the Tuesday starter.
Honestly, I don't really have much else to say. I think you guys pretty much hit every name that I wanted to touch on. I mean, Norby's obviously day 1. Jenkins, Towers is obviously the weekend series guys. I really like Joe Webb from what Cliff Godwin was saying. I think that he can definitely compete for that 4th spot or compete with Towers. But yeah, I think that you guys pretty much said everyone that was needed to be said. I don't think I have much to add there.
Yeah, the one thing I was going to add was the fact that Colby Weber I wouldn't be surprised if we do end up seeing him. I know he's a freshman, and I don't think it's as likely that we see him, but I would not be surprised. I mean, this is somebody who we want to be a stud for us in the future. If we throw him in every now and then, maybe put Jenkins in the bullpen. We did that a little bit last year, having Jenkins in the bullpen, and I actually really liked what we got out of Jenkins when we had him in the pen. So I think that would be the one that I could really kind of see us playing around with there. I think, honestly, call me crazy, I think Tower spot is probably more locked in the starting rotation than Jenkins. You can call me crazy for that. I think Tower spot is honestly a little bit more locked in that. Yeah, go ahead.
The only other thing I wanted to mention about the pitching is, I know it's a few weeks away, and we'll talk about it more than the UNC series. I think everything's gonna be thrown off. We said Norby's the Friday guy, and he's gonna be the Friday guy for every other series that we have. That UNC series, I think, is gonna be a lot of mix because, it's UNC. We obviously want to win. Those are big time games. You even look at last year, Norby started in Durham, which was on a Saturday instead of starting on the Friday. I can't remember who started on the Friday. I think the Sunday was Jenkins, if I remember correctly. But, and I think that does make sense. Yeah, I think it was. I think it might have been Pruitt. But I can't remember exactly who started on that Friday, but I do know Norby started on that Saturday. And I think that a lot of it hinges on who do you want to throw in Chapel Hill. I think a lot of that does. I mean, you could throw Norby on that Sunday because of that now. Then you're kind of messing with his rest and all that type of thing because you expect him to throw on the coming Friday. It just kind of all depends. But yeah.
Two more things, and then we can move off. The Sean Jenkins discussion. I don't know if I see him coming out of the pen, but I will say that the report said that he has become a man this
I've
offseason,
heard that too.
both physically and mentally, which is two things that he was lacking last year as a freshman.
I
Exactly.
was gonna say, I mean, this technically is his.
No, yeah.
Yeah, call it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, reclass.
So,
Yeah.
I'm expecting a lot more from him this year. I think he's going to be a stud. And then also the addition to the coaching staff, Jake Agnos, paired with Austin Knight, paired with Coach Palumbo, paired with Coach Godwin. We have one of the best overall staffs in the entire country.
True.
And I think that's something to watch out for as well. I think these pitchers are going to be way more prepared for the moment this year than they were last year.
I completely agree with you guys. Is there anything else anybody else wants to add before we close off?
I'm just excited to see Ethan Norby in his first team All-American preseason year and what he does with this weight on his shoulders this year, because he is the guy. No questions.
Absolutely. Well, that's all we got for you on this week's episode of TECSpertZ. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll be back with you guys next week for another episode of TECSpertZ. But until next time, go Pirates.